Hello everyone. This is Team 10 comprising of Prabal, Sayan and myself Sneha, and our project is salt identification using semantic segmentation. Next slide please. Let me briefly walk you through the problem we have at hand. Oil and gas companies use seismic images and 3D renderings to understand which areas beneath the Earth's surface contain large amounts of hydrocarbons. Interestingly, the surfaces which contain oil and gas also contain huge deposits of salt. Unfortunately, professional seismic imaging requires expert human vision to exactly identify salt bodies. This leads to highly subjective and variable renderings. Moreover, it could cause huge loss for the oil and gas company drillers if the human prediction is incorrect. So basically, we learn from the given annotated mass and the seismic images and then predict the mass using image segmentation for a new seismic image. Now let's see how can we solve this problem using machine learning. Next slide please. The dataset contains 4,000 grayscale seismic images of size 101 cross 101, which are used by human experts to predict whether there could be salt deposits in that region or not. We have corresponding masks for each image. These masks are black and white images, which are the actual ground truth values, which denote whether the seismic image contains salt deposits and if so, where. These will be used for building a supervised learning model. Here we can see the image mask pairs. The image in gray is a seismic image, whereas the image in black on the right is the mask, which is the ground truth label. This is what our model must predict for the given seismic image. The white region denotes salt deposits, and the black region denotes no salt. Clearly, from these images, it can be inferred that it's not easy for human experts to make accurate mass predictions for the seismic images. Hence, we make use of semantic segmentation to help us with the task. Also, we see that we have around 40% images that have no salt deposits and 60% images that do contain salt deposits. Next, Sayan will take you forward.
Thank you, Sneha. We divided a project into 3 phases with low, medium and high risk objectives. I'll give a brief overview of each phase and the details would be discussed shortly in the upcoming slides. In the first phase, we make use of the unit architecture and modify it to have residual connections to predict the image masks. In the second phase, we make use of a pre-trained model like MobileNet V2 as an encoder and use a pix-to-pix style upsampling blocks to increase the spatial resolution of the image. And finally, to enhance the usability of our project, we plan to productize the application by building an API and host it on the cloud. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, the goal of the semantic segmentation is to label each pixel of an image with a corresponding class of what is being represented. The output itself is a high resolution image, typically of the same size as the input image, in which each pixel is classified to a particular class. Thus, it is a pixel level image classification. And so we have designed a machine learning pipeline accordingly. We basically read the images and the corresponding mask, which is of the same size as the image. And since we do not have a very big data set, we augment our data by transforming the image and the mask together to generate more examples to train from and to generalize better. We found image augmentation techniques like flipping and rotating to best suit this type of data. Next, we apply image normalization so to make the computation efficient, which then feeds into our fully convolutional neural network architecture for learning. And finally, we evaluate our results based on metrics such as mean intersection over union. Next slide, please. I'll be providing a brief overview of the architecture that we have considered for the low risk task. One popular approach for image segmentation models is to follow an encoder or decoder structure where we downsample the spatial resolution of the input, developing the lower resolution feature mappings which are learned to be highly efficient at discriminating between classes. Thus, by downsampling the model, it better understands what is present in the image, but it loses the information of where it is present. Hence, there is a need to upsample the image, that is, convert a low resolution image to a high resolution image to recover the where information, thereby transforming the feature representations into a full resolution segmentation map. We used a unit architecture, which got its name from the shape of it, but with a few modifications, which will be discussed shortly. The architecture contains 2 parts. The left part of the letter U is called an encoder or the contraction path, which captures the context, and the right part is a symmetric expanding path or the decoder path, which is used to enable precise localization using transposed convolutions. An important thing to note here is that the skip connections, such as the connection between layer 1 to 9, layer 2 to 8, and so on and so forth, from earlier layers in the network helps in providing the necessary detail in order to reconstruct accurate shapes for segmentation boundaries. The modification that we made in this architecture is that we have swapped the basic stacked convolution blocks in the downsampling or the encoder path with residual blocks. This residual block introduces short skip connections within the block alongside the existing long skip connections found in the standard unit architecture. The short skip connections due to the residual block would solve the problem of vanishing gradient in, in a deep architecture and thus allow for faster convergence when training and allow us to train deeper models. Next slide, please. Next, let's look at the architecture that we have considered for the medium risk task. The essence of upsampling and downsampling remains the same. However, here we have used a pre-trained state-of-the-art model MobileNet V2 as an encoder. So it basically means that the encoder part was not trained, and we have used the pre-trained ImageNet weights. Also, MobileNet V2 accepts only RGB images as input. Hence, we converted the grayscale images to RGB images by repeating the value across all the three channels. And for the decoder, we use pix-to-pix style upsampling blocks. Pix-to-pix is a shorthand for an implementation of a generic image-to-image translation using conditional adversarial networks. Each pix-to-pix upsampling block contains a confounded transpose layer, a batch normalization layer, a dropout layer, and then a ReLU layer. We finally add residual or skip connections from an encoder to the decoder. This architecture showed significant improvement over the last architecture, and the results were promising. And the results will be shown by Prabal.
Thank you, Sayan. In the results section, I am going to discuss how our encoder-decoder style model performed on the TGS salt identification dataset. As you can see in the left graph, validation set accuracy achieved by our model is of about 94.5%. In terms of semantic segmentation, what accuracy refers to is how correctly each pixel is classified in the output mask. As you can see at the start of the training, the predicted mask was very accurate compared to the true mask. The connecting salt boundary between the upper left and the lower right region is not identified by the model at all. However, as the training goes on, our model improves, and as you can see after the last epoch, the model is somewhat able to find regions of salt in the upper left half and the lower right half. We didn't predetermine the number of epochs for training, but instead allowed the model to stop itself if there is no further improvements in the validation loss in consecutive epochs. Also, one thing we would like to mention is that our model is able to learn faster because of the bootstrap weights that we used for our encoder model. The other metric we would like to report for our model is IOU score. In the code box, some of our peers rightly pointed us to use more useful metrics like precision and recall along with accuracy to report our results. We came across this metric called IOU score, which is widely used in semantic segmentation type of application, where one would like to find how much is the overlapping area between the predicted mask and the actual mask, and then divide it by the total overlapping region to normalize it. The minimum value IOU score can take is 0 and the maximum value it can take is 1. In the graph on the right hand side, we reported the IOU scores after every 5 epoch, and as you can see, when the model stabilizes, we are getting IOU scores of about 0.6 on the validation data. We think that our model is able to generalize well, and it can improve if we feed more data into it. Next, with the limited time in our hand, we were not able to build an API around our model, but we are keeping this as our future scope. We want to host this model on a server and build a website around it such that people and all companies can readily use our software as a service to identify regions of salt in their seismic images. There is also a scope to build a user interface such that if somebody wants to train a model and newer images, they can readily do so by clicking few buttons. At the end, I would like to point few references which were really helpful to us while building these models and solving the problem. Thank you so much.